Marvel Rivals. This game looks good. It's looking really, really good, actually. Holy God. Wonder how it feels. Feels good, feels good. I'm liking it. Damn. I don't know, this is looking pretty good. I really want to know how Overwatch is faring after all this. It has to be doing something to keep up with this, right? Right? Don't mind me! I'm just gonna go do my own thing in the corner while this new game currently steals the market with my 2 heroes a year. Let's do this shit. Oh, they can't keep up with us. We're just too good. We're Overwatch, baby. They can't beat us. Oh.
Overwatch. What a game. What started as Blizzard Entertainment's big leap into the hero shooter genre quickly became a cultural phenomenon, redefining multiplayer gaming and flooding the world with memes, cosplays.
What the fuck? Holy shit, dude, what's the matter? What happened? What's going on? There's so much porn!
And heated debates about whether Hanzo mains deserve forgiveness.
Why you have to be mad?
It was the golden child of 2016, winning Game of the Year awards, inspiring a devoted fan base, and giving players a cast of colourful, diverse characters to fall in love with and make very interesting content with.
Blow my fucking brains out!
But fast forward to today, and the narrative isn't quite so cheerful. Between dwindling player counts, questionable design choices, the controversies rolled out of Overwatch 2, or as many call it,
it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
And its new competitor, Marvel Rivals, absolutely crushing it. It's safe to say the game's trajectory has been anything but smooth. So, what happened? How did the game, once hailed as the savior of team-based shooters and iconic rival to TF2, end up being one of gaming's biggest ever fall-offs? So, let's break it down as we dive into the rise and the fall of Overwatch, as we ask the question, what the hell happened to Overwatch? Chapter 1. The history of a pop culture icon. And look, if you could check to see if you're subscribed, and if you haven't, it's free. So if you could do that, it would really help us out. Thanks, guys. So before we get into why this game has become, well, a pile of shit compared to what it used to be, let's look at how this game became so big in the first place. So why was Overwatch so popular and how it became such a massive part of pop culture even to this day? Well, that's easy. You could pick up the game and start playing with very little skill and do well. Look, just play Junkrat and fire over a wall and look, a free team wipe. But look, in all seriousness, the game had amazing character designs, and that's not even talking about the way the characters looked, even the way they played. No two characters felt the same. Like, look, this is Reinhardt and Sigma, both tanks that both use shields to protect the team, but feel completely different to play. McCree and Ashy, both badass cowboys that use their accuracy to kill opponents, play completely differently to each other. And even healers like Mercy and Brigitte, they play nothing alike, but they both still heal and keep the team alive. Now look, there were definitely some better characters than others. I'm not going to point any fingers. Moira, but most, if not all characters, had a use and could be played to good effect, which was awesome for a game like this. Now, back when Overwatch released back in 2016, it did something strange, and it decided to release the game in a dead patch. Now, you might be asking, what does that mean? Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but most games that are released by big developers always release their games around the same time, and this is usually from September to about March. So around the Christmas rush for all these Christmas shoppers. Well, with Overwatch releasing in May, it really had no competition releasing alongside it, giving it a massive open market to take control of, and they did this with style, absolutely crushing every other online multiplayer game around it, as there was nothing quite like it other than TF2, what quickly became old news. And then came all the videos comparing TF2 to Overwatch and who would win in a fight, like they were everywhere. And if you're watching this video, you probably watched about half of them. Now, when the game came out, it had some absolutely amazing and fun things that you could do. First off, when this game first released, you could play whoever you wanted to, even if there were double ups. Now, don't get me wrong, in the comp scene, this is terrible, but from the casual scene, this is fun and amazing. Just being able to let people have fun and do what they want to do is always a great way to get people invested into the game that you're playing. Now, when this game released, it was a paid game with loot boxes. Now look, I know the game is free now without loot boxes, but honestly, I like the loot boxes in Overwatch. Okay, I know that's genuinely an unpopular opinion with most games, but look, I can't remember the last time I got a cool skin in Overwatch 2, but I can tell you this, I can remember plenty of cool skins I got for free in the original Overwatch loot box system. But since this new one, I think I've pulled about 2, and I think I've taken more pleasant shits than these so-called legendary skins. Now, with the game being originally paid for, the microtransactions weren't as predatory compared to free games. And yes, they weren't perfect, but at least you could still look cool without dumping your wallet into the game. Now, something that I bet you all forgot about is that there was no role queue back in the day. So hey, if you wanted to have 6 tanks, you could. If you wanted to play as much of any role as you wanted to, you could do so. It was whatever you wanted to do, and that made making your own team comp so fun. And look, being able to create your own team comps with whatever you wanted genuinely made the game more fun, especially compared to what we have to this present day. Because giving your players the freedom to make their own decisions on how they want to play the game is so much more fulfilling and enjoyable for players to create unique team synergies and allow fun and mostly ridiculous team comps. Now, there's one last thing I wanted to talk about with the pro side of this history, and that's the game's, well, adult content.
I don't like where this is going.
Now, you're probably asking, Blazing, how in the hell is this good for the game? Let alone the community with all these gooners making everything sexual about their favorite game. And I get it, it can be a bad look, but hear me out. How many people do you think seen one of these videos and when they were done just went, wooey, I just broke a good sweat to that one. Oh, maybe I should check out the game I just beat it to. Oh, now look, I can tell you that there definitely were people who did that. Even if you don't like it, it's the truth. And look, these people probably then bought the game, played the game, and essentially put money back into the game. So no matter what your perspective on this is, you cannot deny the power beyond Goonerbait. And look, I'm not going to show you pictures just yet because I don't want to get banned for life off of YouTube. But let's think and picture it for a second.
No. Please, later, you don't understand.
Roadhog. And there were other things that were just nice. The atmosphere to being able to earn gold weapons, and all of this helped to make Overwatch an overnight pop culture sensation. But look, not everything in Overwatch past was so good. And there's a reason that it had ended up on a video like this. And some of this stuff started ages ago. For example, role queuing. Like, why do they add this to the game if a quick play? It's fair and it makes sense for the competitive standpoint, but why for quick play? For the casual player, this is an utter garbage, and I don't understand about it. Like, why do I have to wait 20 minutes to play damage? It's a fucking joke. And that has just crossed out one of the good points from the list. Thank you, Activision Blizzard. Now, I spoke earlier about how heroes were amazing and a major light to the game, but when a character was busted, oh boy, they were busted. And this could make the game so unfun to play. Like, yes, you could still play other heroes and have success, but why not play Orisa in her broken state and have no one be able to challenge you? Or even getting one shot by Roadhog, because that was always fun. But hey, they would fix this sometimes, and when they did, they usually just nerfed the already weaker characters anyway, because, well, I guess fuck you. And is it just me, but trying to get new characters is starting to get harder and harder, as the release time between them is getting longer and longer now. This isn't great for the game, especially since this is becoming more of a problem the longer the game has been out. But this hasn't affected the game as much as this next point. And that's the two biggest things that have happened to Overwatch, and this was outside of the game. The departure of Jeff Kaplan from Blizzard really hurt the game and its community, and the game has never felt the same again, with a lot of the community going elsewhere since it feels like the players' questions and complaints just don't get answered anymore. And the big sexual harassment case going on at Blizzard, where lots of employees were done for some truly horrendous actions that were terrible for people who got assaulted and used during this time. Both of these cases clearly had a knock-on effect into the game and really affected both the quality and the appeal of the game, as I know quite a lot of players left after hearing about the stuff going on behind the scenes. And I guess you could say that McCree really did fuck up.
Whoa. I respect your position, but if you don't head back to Carronay Station right now, I'm gonna AI my foot up your ass.
But there was a bit of promise as they were announcing something big in the works over at Blizzard. Something that was going to change the way we were going to play Overwatch. They were adding a PvE mode, a story mode that we could enjoy to play the story that we have enjoyed in videos, to get to live it ourselves. And it honestly looked like this could be the thing that saved Overwatch. Well, could it be? Chapter 2, they lied. BlizzCon 2019 was a big moment for Overwatch fans, or at least it was supposed to be. Blizzard revealed Overwatch 2, promising a revamped experience that included both PvE and PvP modes, upgraded visuals, new maps, and additional heroes. On paper, it sounded great. The PvE missions in particular were a huge selling point, as they teased cinematic storylines that would expand the Overwatch lore, while giving players cooperative gameplay experiences akin to seasonal events like Junkenstein's Revenge. The promise of a new game also came with assurance. Overwatch 2 wouldn't split the player base. PvP would remain cross-compatible between both games, and all cosmetics earned in Overwatch would carry over. It sounded like the best of both worlds, a sequel for those who wanted a fresh start and a new experience, and a continued journey for those loyal to the original. But behind the scenes, questions loomed. Why did Blizzard need a full sequel for what seemed like a glorified update? And would this move really reinvigorate the franchise? Or was it just a desperate attempt to claw back goodwill after years of stagnation and controversy? Following the announcement, Blizzard went radio silent. Months turned into years with almost no updates, leaving fans frustrated and confused. Was Overwatch 2 even coming? And if so, when? The prolonged silence only deepened the community's skepticism, with many accusing Blizzard of announcing the sequel prematurely as a way to distract from the company's mounting legal and PR issues. When new information finally started trickling out, it was underwhelming to say the least. The long-promised PvE mode, which had been the cornerstone of the sequel's hype, appeared to be scaled back significantly. Instead of extensive campaigns fans had envisioned, Blizzard teased limited co-op missions that felt more like seasonal events than a fully fledged feature. In October 2022, Overwatch 2 finally launched. Or rather, it replaced the original game entirely. Yes, the original Overwatch was shut down, leaving players with no choice but to transition to the new game. While this technically fulfilled Blizzard's promise not to split the player base, it also meant that anyone who preferred the original system was out of fucking luck. And despite being labeled as a sequel, Overwatch 2 felt more like an expansion. Sure, it has some shiny new features like 5v5 format, which must I say, I feel so fucking sorry to every Team Comp 6-man now just having no team to play with. You know.
So sad.
But it also had new maps and new additional heroes. But the core gameplay remained largely unchanged, leading me to question whether it deserved to be called a sequel at all. One of the most significant changes in Overwatch 2 was its shift from a full-priced game to a free-to-play model. On the surface, this seemed like a win for players. After all, who doesn't love free stuff? But the devil's always in the details. Gone were the days of loot boxes, which for all their flaws allowed players to earn cosmetics through gameplay. In their place came a battle pass system and a premium in-game store, where items like mythic skins were locked behind steep paywalls. But hey, want that fancy new Kiriko skin? That'll be $70 or more if you're unlucky. The monetization system felt exploitive, especially for a community that had been promised a free and fair experience. Players who had spent years supporting the original game were now being asked to shell out even more money for features that once felt attainable through gameplay. The final nail in the coffin for many fans was the handling of the PvE content. After years of hype, Blizzard announced in 2023 that the ambiguous large-scale campaign originally promised would not be happening. Instead, players would be getting smaller piecemeal missions as a part of seasonal updates. This was a huge letdown. For years, the PvE mode had been framed as the defining feature of Overwatch 2, the thing that justified its existence as a sequel. Its downgrade felt like a betrayal, sparking widespread outrage and calls for accountability. A community divided. By the time the dust settled, Overwatch 2 had left the community in a weird place. Some players embraced the changes and continued to enjoy the game for what it was, while others felt disillusioned and walked away entirely. Blizzard's repeated missteps, broken promises, tone-deaf monetization, and lack of transparency had eroded much of the goodwill that had made Overwatch a cultural phenomenon in the first place. But the story doesn't end here. Let's introduce the game's present-day issues. Its competitor. Chapter 3. Overwatch in the shadow of its rival. As Overwatch 2 continues to develop, it finds itself no longer occupying the lofty pedestal it once stood on in the hero shooter genre. Today, it competes in the gaming landscape that's more crowded and competitive than ever, with Marvel Rivals offering a fresh and innovative experience for players seeking fast-paced action. Blizzard's flagship shooter looks like it got a rather problematic road ahead of it. Released in 2024, Marvel Rivals quickly emerged as a serious contender in the hero-based multiplayer arena, combining a roster of iconic Marvel characters with a tight, polished gameplay loop. It has been celebrated for its innovation and accessibility. Unlike Overwatch 2, Marvel Rivals takes a more power-driven approach to its PvP, allowing players to feel like the characters they are playing without completely being overpowered. As the once famous line goes,
When everyone's super, no one will be.
One of the most significant draws of Marvel Rivals is its ability to attract casual and competitive gamers alike. Its matchmaking system feels lightning fast. Like, holy shit, I'm pretty sure you get into the game before you even realize you pressed the damn thing. And I can tell you right now, I've had to hold on to so many shits because I'm trying to get into a loop of not finding a game straight away. And its monetization model. While not perfect, it has avoided the backlash that Blizzard's battle passes and overpriced cosmetics have faced. I mean, it's clearly working. Like, shit. Zach's already sunk like $70 into this game, so it must be doing something right. This balance of accessibility, innovation, and fairness has allowed Marvel Rivals to carve out its own space in the market that Blizzard once dominated. A significant portion of Overwatch 2's player base has shifted to Marvel Rivals and other emerging titles, citing frustration with Blizzard's handling of the game. Many players feel burned by Blizzard's broken promises, especially regarding the PvE content that was supposed to define the sequel. Additionally, the grind-heavy battle pass and expensive cosmetics have pushed the players towards games like Marvel Rivals, where rewards feel more achievable and less exploitative. Compounding this is Overwatch 2's ongoing balance issues, which have left the meta in flux and alienated certain players. In contrast, Marvel Rivals has been praised for its steady balancing updates and clear commitment to listening to community feedback. Despite its challenges, Overwatch 2 isn't down for the count just yet. the game still boasts some of the most satisfying and dynamic team-based gameplay on the market, despite its balancing issues. Its cast of characters are still very much defined in their own right, although they're pushed towards a more DEI design, each with their unique abilities and personalities continues to be a major draw for many players. Furthermore, Blizzard has shown signs of trying to course correct. Recent updates have introduced new maps, heroes, and seasonal events that bring moments of excitement to the game. And while the PvE content may not have lived up to its initial promise, it still offers a unique flavor that sets Overwatch 2 apart from its competitors. For now. However, in a genre where innovation and player trust are paramount, Blizzard faces a very uphill battle to win back its audience. With Marvel Rivals on the rise and other less known competitors like Apex Legends, Valorant, and even long-standing classics like Team Fortress 2 continuing to hold their own, Overwatch 2 finds itself in a precarious position. Blizzard can't solely rely on nostalgia and loyalty of its hardcore fan base. It needs to deliver a fresh, meaningful content and rebuild the trust it lost over the years. As we look into the future, one question looms large. Can Overwatch reclaim its throne, or is it destined to remain in the shadows of its new rival? For that, we have to wait and see how this whole shit show plays out. Anyway, that's what we believe happened to Overwatch. With the new release of Marvel Rivals, we thought we might make a longer video like this to help the community grasp just what Overwatch used to be, because it was quite a great game back in the day. But as you have all seen, it has fallen from grace and likely will struggle to rise again, but I digress. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you drop a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more stuff like this. As we have mentioned before, we plan to make quite a big impact in 2025, and this video marks our foot into the door. So we really hope you guys enjoy this newer, longer style of content, as we plan to do some even larger ones, conveying some of what we believe are some very interesting topics that you will, for now, have to wait and see what we mean by that. But until then, we hope you all have a wonderful day, and we hope to all see you in the next one.